Be one, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Blacklogic. And this evening, we're going to go over how New York City Mayor Adams, has once again neglected, lied, anything that you can think of, these mayors, okay? And I know it's plural. I'm referring to Mayor Adams and mostly Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. But tonight, we're going to focus simply on Mayor Adams because not only is he allowing for New York police officers to be assaulted by illegal immigrants and really don't have a plan in place to reduce, subside, or eradicate this issue within these shelters. They're basically starting riots. People are getting stabbed. People are getting harmed. People are getting raped. There's all sorts of things that are occurring. And again, these are supposed to be asylum seekers who are supposed to be here getting protection from the U.S. government because they are fearing political prosecution from their own countries. And these countries, they're south of the border, right? They're either Mexico, Venezuela, Honduras, Costa Rica, Colombia, Haiti. Then you have, 20,000 plus illegal immigrants coming over from China, as well as India. It seems as though the entire world is coming through the southern border, and the Biden administration is doing nothing to secure the border. They couldn't even pass a simple bipartisan bill, okay, without taking funding out of the bill from Ukraine, taking funding out of the bill from Israel, and simply doing a border bill. Like, they have to add all these other earmarks inside, all these other causes inside of securing the most powerful country in the world. So when I think about Mayor Adams, a lot of these things have come to light, especially the assault on New York police officers, right? Now, when it comes to foundational Black Americans and the system of white supremacy and dealing with race soldiers with badges, that necessarily doesn't mean that all police officers are race soldiers or all police officers operate in the system of white supremacy, but there's a great many of them, but unintentionally being harmed, okay? And this is haphazardly is going to make the New York Police Department more aggressive towards illegal immigrants or towards immigrants or people who are immigrants are in nature, if that makes any sense. And this hasn't happened once, but it's happened twice. That's been recorded. So we can allude to that this has happened probably 3, 4, 5 times that hasn't made the spotlight in public media because the migrants have been allowed to assault New York police officers with reports suggesting that this may be not, the only instance where this has occurred, because in a shelter within New York City that illegal immigrants have been housed, a riot broke out where the New York Police Department officers were attacked. And to make matters even worse, there are these rumors circulating that Mayor Adams are planning to allow migrants to move into a brand new luxury apartment in New York City before Black American citizens, before the citizens of New York, before the taxpayer, before the constituents, before homeless people, right? Because essentially, what's the difference between a homeless New Yorker? What's the difference between a homeless New Yorker versus an immigrant, versus a migrant, versus someone who's undocumented, versus an illegal immigrant? What is the difference? Well, the major difference is that those homeless folk there, those homeless Black folk, those homeless New Yorkers are citizens of the state, are citizens of this country, and they need to be attended to first. And we also have to point out, this is the same state, this is the same mayor, this is the same city that are issuing credit cards to migrants to go shop at bodegas. Now, when it comes to putting money back into the community, I want you guys to think about this. They're dumping the illegal migrants in majority Black ran areas within the city. And not only that, he's stating that this is going to put money back into community and reduce costs that's coming out the city budget. Well, how's that putting money back into the Black communities? Because you're stating bodegas. There's no Black bodegas, at least I've never been to one. Maybe one of you guys have been to one, but that's not the case here. But he's moving them into these luxury apartments. And a sister, she took some pictures while they was unloading all this, furniture, these bunk beds and things of that nature. Now, mind you, this apartment building was built about 10 years ago and it's been vacant. You see what I'm saying? They're doing all these things within the budget or busting the budget or getting federal assistance or federal support. But now they have all this money to house migrants in Chicago, in high schools, in community centers, in New York, in shelters, and now in luxury apartments. And then we're going to go over how Mayor Adams tried to flip the script, okay? How they're trying to do this bait and switch, the smoke and mirror, the dagger, you name it, family. They're trying to pull out all the stops for these illegal immigrants, and they're tap dancing around the issue, okay? They're tap dancing around the issue. This raises the question, is this reparation for migrants who are in the country illegally? I want you guys to think about that. Or is this simply support, financial assistance, substance assistance, food assistance, medical assistance for people who are in dire need and fleeing from their country from political persecution? Or is this part of an economic migration to undermine foundational Black Americans of low-skilled jobs and some mid-level skilled jobs? Because don't forget, the high-level skilled jobs are being taken over by the Chinese and the Indians who are coming inside of the country illegally, whereas the low-skilled jobs are being taken over by Haitians, Mexicans, Venezuelans, Hondurans, Costa Ricans, and Colombians, just to name a few. And let's not forget the reparations that were provided, apartments, licenses for Afghanis, that when America pulled out, that we are now providing for over 100,000 Afghanis on the American dollar as well. So believe me, your tax dollars as American citizens in general, let alone the state of New York, the state of Illinois, the New York City, as well as Chicago, is being funded by your tax dollars. So that's the questions I raise, because we understand a lot of these people are being dropped off in majority Black cities or majority Black districts. And we see the trend of prioritizing migrants over the Black citizen and over some of the other citizens who are there. It's a systematic problem that needs to be addressed. And we need to start really questioning, as those people are, why immigrants are receiving benefits, privileges from the state and federal government, while Black American citizens are being left behind. And I'm glad that I'm starting to see a lot of Black New Yorkers, a lot of Black Chicagoans stand up and demand equal treatment for themselves, regardless of those people are in the country illegally. And this is very important for us too, to point out, as this has been a big problem in America for quite some time. Let me, guys, share with you a couple of video clips here that I think is going to be very relevant in revealing the truth, as we always do here on Blacklogic, so we can get it from the horse's mouth, okay? Let's see here.
In Harlem tonight, confusion and anger from residents over a homeless shelter coming to the neighborhood. CBS 2's Ali Bauman was at a community meeting when the mayor showed up.
Bait and switch tactic on
Harlem
them.
residents
They
went
tell us what
looking
was
for
built as a
answers
luxury
Thursday night
apartment building
about it.
almost 10 years ago is now being turned into a migrant shelter. CBS 2's John Diaz explains it came without warning.
We should have been informed. It's like they snuck in here.
Executive Director of the community outreach organization Silent Voices United, Tiffany Fulton, is not keeping her voice silent about what she says is the city blindsiding her Harlem community.
I'm looking for answers.
Last week, she snapped these photos. Crews moving furniture into a vacant 35-unit complex on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard near 130th Street, including boxes of twin bunk beds. Thursday, they were seen through windows all set up. Fulton says local leaders confirmed with her they're moving migrants here.
They actually turning.
Okay, I want you to point out that too, that they asked local leaders, that probably some aldermen, some city council persons, and they're saying, what are they doing with this empty luxury building that's been vacant for quite some time? I see bunk beds being set up inside of rooms and things of that nature. And they confirmed that they're going to house illegal immigrants inside of those apartments.
This into a sanctuary for asylum seekers.
The building was first marketed as a luxury doorman building. Condos include kitchens with granite countertops and marble bathrooms. Renderings show it even has an indoor swimming pool on its roof. But city records state its developers defaulted on loans, and for a decade, the building remained empty.
Wow.
And a major question area residents want answered as soon as possible: how exactly did the city even get control of the building?
With rents skyrocketing, Harlem residents say this could have been turned into affordable housing.
These departments
Absolutely.
could be used for us to go into.
We welcome migrants, but the way things are done is very important. And when residents are not informed, when residents are not, opinions are not taken into account, this is what causes animosity.
They're all hoping for some clarification soon.
So that's what's essentially occurring, family. A lot of disrespect are going out to the Black constituents, the Foundation of Black Americans who've been living in the Harlem, Brooklyn area, near the area where this particular luxury apartment building has been empty. Again, you saw that the investor defaulted on a couple of loans there. So that's why the building has been vacant. But nonetheless, the city has control over that building, and they've had the Black residents there hurting. They've had the Black residents there for quite some time, living low, impoverished, and condemned and dilapidated buildings, but they will not move them into this luxury apartment. Now they will move in migrants. And we're going to comb through what Mayor Adams has been talking about and how he has kind of bait and switch and changed the tune of this as well. Okay. And these are some of the things, family, that again, we really must point out. So let's look at this clip as well. I see that it's trying to queue up here. Give me a second here, family. See if we can get this popping in here. All right, let's try this again. If not, we're going to move on to our third clip if this one's not. But there's some relevant things that the citizens there in that area have been pointing out for quite some time that I wanted you guys to hear to solidify my point here, that these Black Democratic mayors, these Black Democratic legislators are put into office for one reason: to buy time, to trick, coerce, manipulate Black folk into believing that your continuous of voting for the Democratic Party is for your benefit. And the only thing they have shown us is that it's to our detriment. You see what I'm saying? And I think hearing from these citizens, hearing from these Black folks tells the true story of what's really going on in a lot of these places. Okay, let's see if we can get this one queued up. I am dealing with some very slow internet here, family. So hopefully we can get this going here. But if we can't, we'll just do some context and commentary, and we'll go right through this, because we have another point to make about a lot of the police officers are now being attacked. Okay, a lot of police officers are now being attacked. So if not, because of this very, very slow internet, we're going to move on to another clip if those things don't start to queue up very quickly. But I would like, as that is still queuing up, I would like to go over a couple of other things, because as I stated before, there's been reports of migrants assaulting New York police officers. And imagine being a law enforcement officer, a police officer, risking your life to protect the city or to assist these illegal immigrants in their hardships of being refugees and asylum seekers, only to be attacked by those who shouldn't be here in the first place. Key, they shouldn't even be here in the first place. I think that's very important to point out. And it's outrageous, it's unacceptable, and it's happening under Mayor Adams, okay? It's happening under Mayor Johnson. And if it wasn't enough, this occurred, to my recollection, a second time. A riot broke out in one of the New York City shelter that's housing migrants, where again, New York police officers were assaulted. And what kind of message does this send to the Black residents, to the non-Black residents that have been in the city, who have been subjugated by the race soldiers with badges and those soldiers or police officers who have not shown racist assault towards them. But again, police officers are in place to uphold the law and to enforce the law, but they're now being asked to deal with illegal immigrants, which in my opinion, family, you may agree or disagree, is outside of their duty job description of handling and being asylum seeker officers or being Custom and Border Patrol officers, where that's not their call. And another thing to point out, this is taking resources from New York City. These police officers can be on the beat. These police officers can be responding to calls. Your car got stolen, your car got broken in, your apartment, your house got vandalized, whatever the case may be. They're taken away from their natural duties of being a police officer in New York City, which is a heavy immigrated city. Nonetheless, those there legally have every right to be there, but those there illegally are getting the benefit and support. And don't forget about the credit cards. Don't forget about they're receiving credit cards. They're receiving credit cards with money on them to spend in non-Black places while they place them in foundational Black American neighborhoods, okay? And another thing to point out, these migrants are breaking the law, okay? If some of these clips start to load, family, again, I'm away from my regular set, as you can see, so a lot of my clips are not loading. I have very slow internet, but they're breaking the law, and we're going to show you a smuggling ring that police officers have found out, how they're actually smuggling marijuana inside the country as well into a lot of the cities within America. And I showed you on the last broadcast how certain south of the border cartels are infiltrating certain states, certain groups of people, and they are peddling and selling fentanyl, and they're increasing the crime rates, even in Montana, right? When I think of Montana, the only thing I think about is green pastures and ranches and horses. But now, dealing with the information, one in particular with the Sinaloa cartel out of Mexico have infiltrated Montana. Not only that, have infiltrated the Native Americans and have fed the community fentanyl and got them hooked. But if there's another dichotomy of that situation as well, that what happened to the whole stance on the war on drugs? That's my question. What happened to the whole stance on the war on drugs? I haven't seen anything about the war on drugs now when it comes to fentanyl, when it comes to opioids, when it comes to anything of that matter. I haven't seen it. I just have not seen that. And that is shocking to me that we haven't heard anything about the war on drugs when it comes to fentanyl and opioids, right? But they have provided plenty of support, plenty of rehabs, and all sorts of things for the communities that is affecting the most. And believe me, it's now foundational Black Americans who's doing fentanyl. It's just not our thing, right? But we have to point some of these things out as well. Let me continue on here. Let me see if I can get some things popped up for you guys. I do apologize for this, but it's outside of this is really outside of my purview here. Let me see what I can do here, family. Let me see what I can do. Let me see if I can get another clip swung up over here so I can show you how these New York police officers are now being brutalized by illegal immigrants, okay, which I think is important to point out as well. Let's see here. Yeah, I think the internet here, we got one good clip in, and that was pretty much about it. But family, I'm gonna leave you with this, okay? I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm gonna stop sharing here very quickly. There's a trend going on through America. And when they were trying to sign this bipartisan immigration bill, there was a lot of trick language and empty word salads to assist Ukraine and Israel. And that was one of the reasons why Donald Trump really stepped up and said something. Now, I pointed this out in one of my last broadcasts. What's more important, securing the border and paying Ukraine and Israel more money? We have already given them hundreds of billions of dollars to support their wars against their prospective enemies. But at the same time, we'll be able to secure the border. Hopefully we can finish the wall. Hopefully we can have more Customs and Border Patrol agents. Or we let the bill die as it did, and we still have open borders, and we still don't have enough resources to secure the border or even to attend of all the thousands of people who are coming in here in caravans illegally, okay? Coming here illegally. Now, this is one of the clips I wanted to show you guys. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, and hopefully, again, this can, hope this does pop out here, family. Let's see if we can get this one up and running here. Because, of course, let's get this one up and running here. Here we go. Now, hopefully this one plays for you guys. This is pretty short. And this is what I was talking about, the smuggling ring. And one of the comments here states that the only reason they know drugs are hidden there is because they're being tipped off. Of course they are. And what's inside of that is marijuana. I don't know the exact weight, but I want you to look at all the watermelons they have on the ground. They have a whole case, okay, of watermelons that are filled with marijuana. All right. So that's essentially what's going on, how they're smuggling drugs in America. Another plot by maybe a cartel or some smuggling genius. Like, let's put them through watermelons and seal them back up or something like that. And the police have probably been tipped off, as one of the people say, as they should. We shouldn't have illegal drugs being shipped inside of America. We see what fentanyl is doing. We saw what crack cocaine done. But that wasn't, crack cocaine or cocaine wasn't really smuggled in. It wasn't really what smuggled in. We know the three-letter agency that actually, transported it in, imported it in to the Black communities to dilapidate and control our environments, okay? Now let's go back here, family. I just want to see if we can get some of these things queued up again. I see a lot of things are spinning. I'll see if I can get at least one of these clips queued up, especially of the assault of the New York police officer, which I think is very important. So let's just try one clip so I can prove my point and we can move on from here. Let's see. Here we go. Now, this is something I want to point out right here. It says the incident comes after a 24-year-old asylum seeker was fatally stabbed inside the cafeteria tent at the sprawling Randall's Island shelter. Uh-oh, give me a second here. It's popping up. All right, let's see. I want you to show where the sister got hit by a chair. I want to, let's go back. They were throwing chairs. They were tussling with police officers. Now, in another clip I had loaded up for you guys is not running, unfortunately. This sister right here was actually hit in the head by a chair. So this was a very violent riot that attacked police officers of every color, shade, religious background, you name it, family. So it's not just an attack against police officers, but attacks against our own citizens, where our police officer resources are being used to maintain and control the population of illegal immigrants was inside these shelters, okay? And I have one more here when it comes to Black history. I gotta always point out something for Black history, family. Every broadcast I'm doing is at the end, because of all the trouble I'm having with this internet. So please excuse me once again. But nonetheless, give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, support the channel. We're officially on the road to 50,000 subscribers. And again, family, when I'm away, I try to do my best to find the best internet possible, but sometimes it's just not possible. Okay, family. But nonetheless, I want to show you guys this very clip that my wife showed with me, and I'm glad she did, because when I went over to, I was stationed in Korea for 4 years. And when I was stationed in Korea, let me tell you, Koreans over there, you can go to these chicken shops and they would deep fry a whole chicken or deep fry different parts of a chicken or deep fry a whole chicken and cut up that whole chicken to different parts. And it's absolutely delicious. And this is the reason why the chicken over there is so damn delicious. It's not because they all of a sudden thought of the best recipe that money can buy. No. That's not the case. Okay. Just like anything else in this world, they have dependent on Black folk, and especially foundational Black Americans, very influential around the world, as everyone knows. And not only should they give us our flowers, they should give us what they're owed, reparations.
Serving chicken wings?
And all of a sudden they're going to fry those stuffed wings.
Korean fried chicken is by far the best fried chicken on the face of the earth.
And you know why? Because it was taught to Korean cooks by African-American GIs after the World War.
If I had a mic, I'd drop it right now.
And so I want to read these comments right here very quickly. Voices of ancestors state, never forget your history and always honor your ancestors. Start by getting your copyrights. They're selling something. But the most important part of that was knowing your history. Koreans got fried chicken from Foundation of Black Americans. Absolutely. Then the Angry Knight here states, y'all know fried chicken is originally from Scotland, right? Well, if that's right, the Angry King, if fried chicken, okay, came from Scotland, then why isn't it delicious the way we cook it? Is it because we can season better, or we're the ones who actually found it salt? I mean, what is it? I mean, I never had fried chicken from Scotland, but I'm just asking. And I think that's pertinent. But nonetheless, family, I'm gonna leave you guys with that. You guys have a great and wonderful night. And please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up. And again, I do apologize for the internet. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. Be one.